In case you haven't noticed, Jaguar has reimagined their company. They've decided to scrap all gas vehicles across the entire company, and they created, or others might say they've spawned, a full electric vehicle lineup. The result has been mixed, to say the least, but the vibe I'm getting from the internet is that most people view the new Jaguar as nothing short of a bland, cringe monstrosity. The word refrigerator comes to mind. But to be honest with you, I have no dog in the fight. I never plan on owning an electric vehicle because they don't shift manually. And besides, this is a British company, it's not an American company. And the British, they seem to have gotten quite woke over recent years, to say the least, which would explain this bizarre, abstract, nonsensical marketing campaign that they've built around a car company. But what's ironic about this get woke, go broke situation with Jaguar, the people running the company, they probably won't change course. They probably won't admit defeat. They won't even consider themselves being on the wrong side of societal history. Instead, they will do what the modern liberals have been doing. They will blame white people, rich people, and racists. Then they will double down on them being right, everyone else being bad and wrong and evil until the company goes bankrupt or until they all get fired. But even that won't stop them. A lot of the modern woke, I would consider them dangerously brainwashed at this point. I mean, they tend to believe in things that aren't real, and they refuse to believe in things that are actually rooted in reality. Once upon a time, a company, they would conduct extensive public studies before they take a company into a new direction. They would make damn sure that the majority of their consumer base is excited about the next level. Jaguar clearly did not do this. Instead, it appears that they hired a bunch of recent liberal arts university graduates from woke Ivy League schools, and these people were determined to not only go green and not only eliminate the fossil fuel guzzling motors, but they've also dove headfirst into making Jaguar as ugly as a modern art masterpiece. And you might think to yourself, well, Tesla did it with their Cybertruck. But I would push back saying that Tesla is the Coca-Cola of the EV industry. Jaguar has become the Pinto of the automotive industry. They've become unreliable, which might be the reason they've scrapped their internal combustion engines completely, because they hired too many anti-fossil fuel industrial engineers who turned their engines into a chaotic functioning monstrosity. But now, full disclosure, I've never had a Jaguar, but from what I've heard around the campfire, Jaguars these days aren't exactly reliable. Therefore, perhaps the company had no choice but to go all in on electric due to the sharp decline in reliability involving their gas vehicles. But one thing I do know for sure, they've made probably the worst possible decision a company could have made with regard to their marketing team. Now, I've always viewed Jaguar as an old people brand, a type of vehicle that a rich retiree who plays golf would drive. And one thing's for sure, they've definitely alienated their entire senior citizen base with the direction they've taken Jaguar. If the company looked back in time and picked their three most popular models of all time, and they kept the body style nearly identical, and they built those vehicles as electric, they would have had a lot more success. And I mean, it's not nearly as popular as combustion engines, EVs, but it's a lot better than where they are today as a company. So anyway, I have one of their most recent ads that they have on the official Jaguar channel here on YouTube, and I'll give that a play. Let's see how this is, in case you haven't seen it yet. Everything's pink for some reason. The music's a little unsettling. Talk about rich elitist design. Yeah, okay. Copy nothing except the fact that it's an EV. And, EDM, that's my favorite genre of music. So, I mean, the whole music thing, even that's unsettling to me. I mean, I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that, especially with rebranding it as this kind of a car company. It is a monstrosity, in my opinion. So, anyway, I'm just going to go straight to the next thing that I've got on here. Sales appeared to be down at 98% or 97%. My fault. I don't want to give them, I'll give them credit where credit's due. It's 97. It's not 98%, 97%. This is on Lucky Lopez's channel. And let me go back to the beginning and we'll give this a watch. He gives some really good insight as to what the state of Jaguar is looking like right now. So we'll go ahead and give this a watch. A little bit more of the
What the
Jaguar
fuck?
marketing there.
What's going on, YouTube family?
A little
Today
bit
we're
of
going to
get
be
what
talking
go
about
broke
the
action
downfall
happening.
of Jaguar. Now, unfortunately, they brought it upon themselves by doing some crazy marketing. On top of that, they eliminated all the
Just a
internal
little
combustion
crazy.
vehicles and moving forward with strictly
But not too
electric
crazy,
cars,
though, right?
which is absolutely insane. Now, I knew this would have an effect on the brand, on sales, but
Oh,
I
yeah,
had no
just a
idea on
little bit.
how bad it would really get. Now, it's no secret. It's
Just a
all
little.
over the internet. Jaguar had a
The refrigerator.
97.5% fall off when it comes to sales. Now, how did this happen? How did we get here? So let's go ahead and talk about the
Wait a
commercial.
minute. Hold on. That ad said that it's actually very misleading, huh? Is that what I just read? Jaguar's massive 97% sales collapse is actually very misleading. It almost sounds like that they've got friends in the media who are trying to cover for them, but, what do I know?
Comes to sales. Now, how did this happen? How did we get here? So let's go ahead and talk about the commercial heard around the world. Now, when Jaguar put out this commercial, they really teased it, talked about how people are going to be talking about this forever. And I'm sure their marketing team and their infinite wisdom
Yeah, they
said,
will be.
any publicity is good publicity. People are going to be
But in all the
talking
wrong
about
ways.
this. So they decided to play the ad, and the world freaked out.
Ah.
People couldn't tell what the hell is this ad. Is it a car ad? Is it a clothing ad? Is it a mission statement? Is it a
new music genre?
A political message? What is the point of this commercial?
Kind of all the
Now,
above,
Jaguar
probably.
could have came up and said something. Oh, we meant it to say this, or this is how you should interpret it, but they didn't. They figured they would let everybody
they doubled down.
fester and talk amongst themselves, and somehow this would drum up business and drum up buzz for Jaguar. But unfortunately, it did the exact opposite. Everybody from all spectrums destroyed and drugged Jaguar through.
This, by the way, what they're showing here, that I don't believe was the actual Jaguar ad. And he gets to it here in a second. I believe that this is people creating AI ads that are making fun of the rebranded Jaguar brand.
The internet. It was absolutely hilarious. There's tons of AI like differences of that.
Okay,
one
yeah,
they're actually
here you go.
Fighting inside that commercial. You have to look at that one.
They're arresting
there's
him.
Tons of crazy things that were going on about that commercial.
It's on
I
fire.
can't believe Jaguar paid some marketing company to do this. Now, yes, they were talked about for months and months of a time, and still today we're still talking about them, but it's not in a positive light. We're all sitting here wondering what the hell is going on with Jaguar. So I want to tell you a little bit about my history with Jaguar before we get into all the numbers and facts. Now, I've been a huge Jaguar fan for years.
Nice
when I was
car.
a kid, I had a poster of a Jaguar XJ220
Yeah,
on my
it's a
wall.
really
One
nice
of my
car,
favorite
man.
cars.
That is a sexy car.
Me. On top of that, I've had multiple Jaguars.
Now, see, like I said a minute ago when I was talking, what they should have done, they should have taken their top 3 most popular models or their top 3 favorite models from the public, and they should have just basically just they could have just remanufactured the exact same car, more or less, the body style, and just thrown an EV into it. Now, I'm sure that they would have had to tweak a little this, a little that to get it to, the specifications that it would have to be in order to make it perform, in any kind of reliable way. But for them to redesign it into a giant box refrigerator is just absolutely crazy to me.
XKRs, all iterations. I've even had a 1957 Jaguar Mach 4 Saloon that I bought and did a Chevy 350 swap for it. But I mean, I've always loved Jaguar. The curves, the design, especially some of their earlier race cars, just absolutely one of the most beautiful cars ever made. And here we are today. They absolutely destroyed the brand. Now, not only was this a lot of Jaguar's fault with the marketing, but this was years coming ahead. Everybody knows that Jaguar cars are unfortunately unreliable. They've made a lot of really great design cars, but since they've been flopping from owner to owner to owner because everybody's been selling them because they can't make them profitable and they can't make them better cars, they keep turning over and there's more people basically buying and selling.
Oh, see, is that really true? I didn't actually know that the company has gone from owner to owner. I just assumed at first thought when I heard him say that, I thought he was talking about individual Jaguars. But now that I'm thinking of it, maybe Jaguar has exchanged hands as a company, which probably would lead to the reason why they're not as reliable as they used to be.
Now, all these things have culminated into basically Jaguars being known as a very unreliable car but cool looking. They lost the prestige. Back in the day, remember Cadillac was the standard?
Man, that looks so
Jaguar
nice
was
too, man.
basically the
On the
standard
inside,
back in the day as
that's
well.
a
It
nice
was a
interior.
beautiful car. It was meticulously hand built. And now you look at Jaguars
Well, you know they
today,
didn't
they're
make very many of those,
absolute
I'm sure.
junk. All plastic, everything's falling apart.
Plastic.
You can
Everybody's
get
doing
one
that
with
shit
20,000
today.
miles and it's literally going to explode or have some sort of electrical problem.
Dude, they're making new cars, and I can't exactly tell you which exact brand, if not all of them, but a lot of the new vehicles that they're putting out these days have a plastic oil pan at the bottom of the engine. They're making everything out of plastic now. Even the catch pan, or the base of the oil pan mounted to the engine of the car, is now plastic. It's
And
absolutely
this is one of the
mind-boggling
first downfalls with Jaguar. Now,
because
I
they got
do
to save
commend them in
money.
hiring some really
They
cool
got to
people to
save
come in and
weight.
redesign a lot
They
of their
want to make it a
cars.
little
But I
faster.
think this is one of the reasons why they decided to move away from internal combustion vehicles, because they can't make them correctly. Now, when it comes to electric vehicles,
Yeah, that's
believe
what
it
I
or not,
said.
there's less moving parts. So if there's less moving parts, technically it should be easier to build one of these things. Now, for some
Maybe.
reason, I have a huge suspicion that these Jaguars, these new electric cars, are going to be absolute trash and have tons of electrical problems because for some reason, I don't know what it is, British cars always seem to have electrical problems. I have a buddy of mine who's got a
Oh,
brand
that's
new
not
Land
good.
Rover. It's a beautiful car. It's got maybe 5,000 miles. It's been back to the dealership 3 times.
Land
And the
Rovers.
crazy thing is, the
They
difference
still
between
sell,
Land
though.
Rover and Jaguar, Land Rover's having record sales as of this month ever in history. They're
No,
selling more
record
Land
sales?
Rovers, more Range Rovers, Discoveries, all these other ones.
No shit. Specifically, the Defender saw record sales of 115,404 units globally, according to carsuck.net. That's an awesome name. While the Range Rover Sport and Range Rover also contributed significantly to the overall sales figures, these strong sales figures contributed to a record full year profit of $3.3 billion. Wow. Okay, that's surprising. I'm really surprised that they're doing that well,
Than they
especially in
ever
the
have
post-COVID era.
before. And their prices are going up even higher. But why is Jaguar any different? They used to be the same company. They used to work together. Like, why is it such a different split from Jaguar to Land Rover? Now let's get back to the whole EV
They got
thing.
woke.
Now, do you guys feel in your heart that if Jaguar makes a really cool EV, would you buy it? Now, a lot of people
Absolutely
think, I might
not.
give it a shot. I'll give it a try.
But you know what? Full disclosure, I am not an EV guy. I've got nothing against Tesla. I mean, I highly respect Tesla for their, almost 100% made in America, model that they've built that company into. That they do almost all of their manufacturing here, which I believe that they source a lot of the materials from outside the U.S., like their batteries and the lithium and all that stuff. But I find that to be highly respectful that they're more of an American car company than any other American car companies operating today. But with all that said, I'm just never going to own an EV because I've always driven a manual transmission. I've always had one. I'm always going to have one. I've just always preferred it. Yes, I've driven automatics before. I haven't driven an EV though. So maybe that could possibly change my mind, but I highly doubt it. I just got an obsession with just shifting gears. It's just what I do. That's just how I get around every day.
But they won't mention the sales price of these vehicles. I've heard everything from 120 to $200,000 starting. They want to make them more boutique, more higher end, and kind of rediscover the brand. And so they keep saying brand rediscovery. Want to get new clients, new people in. They want to basically raise up their level brand to be something like a Louis Vuitton, a Gucci, a Mercedes.
Yeah, and see, that's their problem. They want to be an elitist company. They just want to cater to the top 10th of 1% of high society. And I mean, the question I would be asking if I were them is all these fancy CEOs and these wives of CEOs, do they really find this vehicle to be sexy? Do they really want to be driving this thing on a daily basis? Not only that, not just the look of it, but the fact that it's electric. I mean, a lot of rich people, I would assume, probably don't really care for electric anyway. I mean, I could be completely wrong. I mean, maybe they're all driving EVs. Maybe they have been all along, for the last 10, 15 years. Maybe.
A Cadillac, stuff like that, which I can, understand. You sell less units, but you make more profit. But the problem is the build quality is
Yeah, that's what
simply
most
not
car
there. Hell,
companies
the
seem
build
to be
quality
doing
isn't
these
there for
days.
Cadillac either. But
Especially
these are some of the
Stellantis.
problems that we're going to have with these new vehicles. Now, I remember
Charge
them
more,
saying
build
that
less.
they don't want their old demographic, which I thought was hilarious. And you can read them out there. There's a
Me
bunch of
too.
media
That's
reports, people
unbelievable.
saying in Jaguar they don't want old white people driving their cars. They want somebody new.
Yes. Yes, they don't want grandma or grandpa to be driving a Jaguar anymore. That is crystal clear. Could you imagine your grandparents driving that? For those of you who have grandparents that are well off enough to drive a Jaguar, or they've been, conservative enough with their savings over the years that they can finally drive their dream car, which happened to be a Jaguar. I honestly don't see any old people at all driving one of these things. And I would even say, regardless of race for that matter, I just can't imagine any person who's elderly today, like 65 or over, even thinking about wanting to drive one of these. Plus, a lot of elderly people probably don't fancy EVs anyway because they don't want to deal with the charging. They don't want to deal with the slew of electronics that these things have built into them. These giant flat screens. I mean, it's very off-putting to the senior citizens because a lot of them aren't very tech savvy to begin with, and they just would rather just drive something that just is simple. At the end of the day, it's simple. They've got the knobs to turn up their air conditioning or their heating. They don't have to deal with, going to this menu and scrolling down to this and then tapping on that and tapping over here and doing this and that and the other. I mean, I just don't see how that's going to be appealing to seniors driving not only an electric vehicle, but one that looks like this.
Young, hip, blah, blah, blah. And unfortunately, it's like those are the people, the loyal customers, they're going to come buy all your new vehicles. And you basically just
I mean,
wipe
maybe a
them
lot
all
of
out by
pimps.
saying
Looks
you
like
don't
a
want their
pimp mobile to
business. You'd
me.
rather focus on something new. So unfortunately, I think Jaguar is going to have a
But I
really
think
tough
the
road
woke
ahead of them
they
because
probably hate
even
pimps,
though
or at
some
least
of
they
these electric
should.
cars, I think they look cool, a lot of
They
people
mistreat
hate them.
women.
A lot
I
of
mean,
people
come
say
on.
it looks like a knocked off Chrysler 300 that's been converted to
Women
a
are strong and
two-door.
independent
But,
today.
I can kind of see the styling of what they're going for. They'd rather, like I said, go boutique, build less cars, but sell them for more money. And believe it or not, all
It's a little too
manufacturers,
niche,
even
though.
Ford, Honda, Chevy, Toyota, they're all doing the exact same thing. Why am I going to make 400 base models when I can make 200 fully loaded nice models and make the same amount of money or more money with less headache? That's the route we're going to do. So I
And if you end up buying one of these, even 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, if you end up in a situation where you would actually want to own one of these things, you're going to commit the rest of this vehicle's life to the dealership. Anything that you want fixed or need fixed or serviced or what have you, it's going to have to go directly to the dealership, the Jaguar dealership, because I'm sure pretty much any mechanic shop locally probably won't even begin to understand how these things work because they're, I mean, but maybe not. Maybe they are engineered very simply, quote unquote, under the hood. Maybe the electric vehicle setup is very similar to maybe the platforms that Tesla has and Ford and GM and because all these other car companies they're all making EVs these days. So maybe for all I know they're all similar, more or less. I mean, I'm sure EV motors probably aren't too different from one another. I'm sure it's more or less the a similar concept, but I still don't think that these things are going to be in any way at all easy to fix or work on or service or anything like
think
that.
this is what they're going to be doing
So
moving
you got to
forward. Is
consider
they're going to
that too.
become
The
a smaller
thousands of
brand
dollars
that's not really worried
that you're going to
about
have to spend.
taking over market share. They just want to put out a few high-end vehicles at a time. And so I don't know if you guys saw the new Cadillac that's coming out. I can't remember the name of it. It's escaping me, but it's supposed to be almost $275,000. And
That's
this is going to be
insane.
custom made, ordered in the actual store. It's a cool looking car. I don't know if I'm going to pay almost 300 grand for
No,
Cadillac, but there are
you might as
people
well
out
buy
there
a
that are getting ready to
fucking
build these
Ferrari at
things.
that point.
And supposedly there's enough people that want to buy them that's going to
I
be
mean, not that
sold
I'd buy
out. So
one
we'll
of
see how
those
that
either.
goes. So I think Jaguar is trying to follow that lead and basically bring their brand back.
At least
Now,
they
since
ship
this whole
manually.
debacle's happened, they've already fired their marketing company and they're looking at
Ha!
hiring a new one. Now, what does this mean? Are they
They fired their marketing company. That's probably the smartest thing that Jaguar's done in the last
changing
decade.
directions? Are they going to bring back internal combustion motors? Are they going to
You're
actually
fired.
drop the whole premium high end EV thing? The sad thing to say is, I don't know what Jaguar wants to do. It seems like it wanted to completely change itself and go a new
Well,
direction,
apparently
and
they
that's the
want to go
best way to do it
bankrupt.
because you
That's
just
what it
clean the
seems
slate.
like that
Nobody
they want
likes
to do.
Jaguar now, so now you're going to have to build your reputation from ground zero.
I'm
But
just
even with
joking.
this saying, all the stuff
Or
they
am
promised
I?
before with this new marketing company, are they going to fulfill that? Are they going to do nothing but electric cars? Are they going to build these machines that you saw on the ad? Who knows? Only time will tell. But
I,
I'd love
I
to know
would
your opinion in the comment
I would
section
probably make
below.
a Vegas
What
bet.
is your
Yes,
opinion of
that's what they're gonna
Jaguar?
do.
How do you feel about them basically destroying a British Institute, something that, everybody likes, that's been a big icon in the automotive
I mean,
industry?
what do the British think about it? I mean, what does the UK think about what they've done to Jaguar? I mean, I don't know if any YouTubers have actually gone out onto the streets of Great Britain and actually interviewed people that were born and raised there, and especially those who have had family members that have driven Jaguar their whole adult life. I would really be curious to hear what they have to say about this.
Industry, they're literally killing a brand right before our eyes, and it's just like it's hard to watch and see. But like I said, I'd love to know your opinion about it in the comment section below. Do you guys actually like the design of the new EVs? And if you could afford one, or if you can't afford one, would you actually buy one? Anyways, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. We got a lot of fun stuff
All
coming.
right, man. Lucky Lopez. I thought I was already subscribed to his channel. Well, I am now. Actually, I'm going to add him to my automotive group because I got a group. And yeah, I don't know why I always procrastinate when it comes to subscribing to people, but I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at it. But anyway, so yeah, that's Lucky Lopez, car guy. He's got a lot of great content on his channel. I've watched tons of his videos. That's why I'm surprised that I hadn't subscribed to him by now, but I am now, so it's all good. But yeah, this one, it comes from Sky News Australia. They had a few choice words with regard to Jaguar as well,
But
since
there also
the
seems to be a bit of an
97% sales drop broke
anti-woke
in the news.
theme tonight. And, if you
Just the
go
other
woke,
day.
you go broke. Last year, Jaguar set the record for the worst rebrand in history. And
Even
now
that's
their
an
sales
understatement.
have collapsed by 98%.
You think it was
in
bad
Europe.
with Bud Light and
Watch
Dylan
this
Mulvaney.
ad, and I'm sure
This
you'll
is way
agree with
worse.
us that this is the worst rebrand ever.
And this is not the AI version, by the way. This is the actual commercial.
You're ticking every woke box here. You've got the androgynous weird things on like
all the
some
races are represented.
foreign planets. I mean, do they even sell cars? From this ad, you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know
Right.
it was
No, they don't, it
cars.
turns
You
out.
actually would not.
I didn't even see any roads on that planet. Where the hell are you going to drive this car to? It doesn't fly.
This was all designed. This advertising campaign was designed for.
And what's up with that sledgehammer? What the hell are you using that
not
for?
Not even there for them to sell because they've gone completely to EV models. Now, I've always thought Jag was a little bit
Classy.
lovely. They were beautiful cars,
Yes.
but a little bit daggy. They would never sort of really. It
Sexy,
was kind of a
classy.
Jag
Not
or a
anymore. Now they're
Volvo.
hip, they're cutting edge.
I just don't think
You know,
Jag's
something
ever
that
really going to be
a
seen
cougar
as
might
the
drive.
cutting-edge cool car. But now they're pink and EVs, and there's blokes in orange frocks selling it.
Yeah, but Jags were always the classic, upper class, sort of British, iconic car.
Establishment car.
Establishment car. And it's like, I mean, whoever did this marketing needs
Conservative
to be fired
comes to mind.
ASAP because clearly they don't know who their customer base is.
Maybe that's why they turn it into a monstrosity.
EV driving lefties that are buying.
Because like they've got so much hatred for the word conservative. They're applying it to everything that is considered conservative, traditionalism, everything. Anything and everything that you can attach the word conservative to. They are just trying to absolutely obliterate it. And maybe that's why they turned Jaguar into the monstrosity that it is right now, because a lot of people who drove Jaguars were conservatively minded people who were just conservatives. And maybe that's why they turned it into what it has become.
Jaguars, believe me.
That's right. And
pink.
I remember when the ad first came out, and the Jaguar people who commissioned the ad and everything, and the people who did were like, "Oh no, we're actually really happy with it. Just watch this space. This is part of this whole sort of." And yeah, we watched the space, and the space is now
Very, very empty.
98% less than it was. But,
Yeah.
But again, it's just that same thing of, I don't want to sound like an old fuddy-duddy, but it's that same thing. Instead of just saying, listen, this is my story, and I know I'm unusual, and getting people to actually understand trans issues or androgynous issues, whatever, people who want to wear strange latex triangles, whatever it is. But instead of saying, this is the future, this is what everyone is now, and if you're not on board, then, you're an old dinosaur grandpa. And actually, most of us are kind of quite happy to be dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs lasted longer than humans.
Yeah, that's what we have to choose from.
No,
No,
and it's
thanks.
also just not a nice ad.
stupid.
It's not aesthetically pleasing.
It's not a great-looking
It's
car
horrible.
either.
It's like some futuristic alien
Weird.
car. It's terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible. And you know what? I mean, that's just all the more reason why I'm just going to keep driving my 90s car, because, I mean, I don't know if all of the car brands are going to follow suit and create all these just ugly ass vehicles. But I mean, if you look at all the car makers over the last few years, they've really tried very hard to roll out EVs and to get people to adopt them. And Fortunately, I mean, at least fortunately in my opinion, a lot of people are not doing so. I mean, the majority of people who bought an EV for the first time, they have stated through surveys that they would not buy an EV, or they're considering not buying an EV for their second vehicle once they're done driving the EV that they have right now. So, but anyway, so let me go on over to the next clip that I found. This is Jaguar sales in Europe plummeted 97.5% amid controversial lifestyle-focused rebrand. Now, they pretty much say the same stuff in this video. It's only a minute long, but they also made a couple of comparisons to Audi, BMW, so I figured I'd give this a go. Let me crank down the music a little bit. I think that's all they're doing. I hope that's not copyrighted. I wouldn't think so, but all right. Plummeted 97.5% after a controversial lifestyle-focused rebrand. Jaguar faces a steep sales decline following a radical rebrand in November 2024, with European registrations plummeting 97.5% in April of 2025. The shift to an all-electric, ultra-luxury brand, coupled with a controversial marketing campaign and the absence of new EV models, has alienated longtime buyers. The company's future hinges on the successful launch of its upcoming electric vehicles. If that is true, that last sentence, if that's actually true, they are absolutely screwed. This company is over. If that's what if they've got everything in on this rebrand, they're done. And I'm sure they do. In April of 2025, get a load of this. In April 2025, the automaker sold just 49 vehicles across Europe, down from nearly 2,000 the previous year. They only sold 49. Holy shit. Yo. And I know there's a lot more than 49 rich people in Europe. Probably more than 49 billionaires, actually. Slogans and identity marketing has confused buyers and frustrated dealers. Oh man, could you imagine working for a Jaguar dealership today? While rivals like BMW and Audi are thriving with clear electric, pretty much all mainstream automakers these days, they've got EVs. Pretty much. I mean, they're not doing too hot. Especially companies like Ford, they're not doing good with EVs. Yep, it's a warning to brands. Don't abandon your core identity. Don't do what Jaguar did. I mean, it's like taking a page out of the Bud Light debacle that happened with, as I mentioned, Dylan Mulvaney sitting in a bathtub, drinking Bud Light, celebrating his 365 days to womanhood or whatever, and Bud Light wanted to sponsor that whole thing, which was absolutely insane. I mean, that's a whole nother rabbit hole you want to go into if you really want to devote the time. I mean, just the fact that Dylan Mulvaney had a TikTok audience that aged on average like 17 years old. I think that was the average age of Dylan Mulvaney's audience, which last I checked, 17 is not drinking age. So it didn't really make a lot of sense for them to sponsor this individual. By them, I mean Bud Light. But all right, anyway, I don't want to go off on some tangent, but this is the last one that I have. Jaguar's rebrand just imploded. This comes from Turbo Cafe.
Remember when Jaguar said they were entering a bold new era? Yeah, the pink EV with the stone seats, the artsy vibe that was...
The stone seats. So that's true, I'm assuming. Otherwise, they wouldn't have said it. So apparently the seats that they have in these things are made out of stone. And why did they think that was a good idea? I assume they have cushions on top of these stone seats, so why even have stone in there in the first place? All it's doing is just weighing the car down, making it heavier. And the heavier an electric vehicle is, the shorter lifetime that these tires, the wheels that they have on EVs, are going to last. I mean, like the Cybertruck, it's so heavy that you have to get a whole new set of wheels on average, every 5,000, I think 5,000 or 6,000 miles. You have to get all new tires every 5,000, 6,000 miles because the vehicle weighs like 6,000 pounds or something like that. Absolutely crazy, man.
Supposed to scream luxury. Well, they're already pulling the plug.
Just one of the downsides of driving an EV.
Their ad agency, and this doesn't feel like a pivot. It is definitely full-on panic. Pull up. Let's take a look.
Yeah,
Last year, Jaguar basically said, forget everything.
Watch Jaguar end up suing them. That would be even more hilarious.
They dropped the old look, new logo,
they won't be able to afford to if they go bankrupt.
Nothing. The whole vibe, minimalist, fashion-forward, very look at me. Then they showed the Type 0
minimalist.
concept,
and what's the price tag for it?
Butterfly doors, a brass spine. It was unmistakable. unmistakable. And the guy leading it all, Jerry McGovern, the same dude who turned the legendary Land Rover brand into whatever the heck it is now. But here's what they were trying to do. They followed a classic branding formula called Benz. They wanted to go big, so make Jaguar the next gen EV icon. It needed to be easy, so clean lines, simple UX, art gallery aesthetics. It obviously needed to be new, so forget the past, appeal to TikTok and Gen Z. And most important, the transition needed to be safe, which not even close. But here's where they really messed up. They didn't rebrand, they completely deleted themselves. People hated it. And I don't just mean car guys on Reddit. Even casual fans were like, what is going on? The launch video didn't even show a car. It was just models, a brass cat statue, and vague slogans. It wasn't even a bad launch. It just felt like a brand who completely forgot who it even was.
I can't believe the shareholders allowed this to happen.
Mess. Designers are completely pushing back. One letter to McGovern straight up said, we're pushing away the people who actually care about this brand. Ouch. And now, Jaguar's ditching the agency that ran the whole thing. So translation, they know it didn't work. They're just not saying that out loud, but let's be real. Who fires the ad agency 6 months in unless the ship's already sinking? So now everybody's asking, where does Jaguar go from here? Do they keep pushing the high fashion EV angle or go back to what actually made them Jaguar? Because let's be honest, Jaguar never had to scream. They whispered, and that whisper hit. So was the Type 00 a bold idea that just didn't land, or was it a sign that Jaguar just still doesn't know who it wants to be? Let me know in the comments, should they double down on this version or accept the embarrassment and just walk it back? And if you're into car brands losing their minds, luxury shakeups, and performance design that actually matters, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and yeah, hit that bell.
All right, there you go. And that's from Turbo Cafe. And that's all I have for the videos. So, if you want to, bail right now, that's all right. I won't make me feel bad or anything, but I'm going to check a couple of more things. I'm going to check to see how much that one of these things, the Type 0, the 0000, whatever the hell they call it, I want to see how much it costs. I also want to check the Jaguar stock price. I mean, they trade publicly, don't they? I don't know. I honestly don't even know. And then also, I want to check out and see how many Jaguar dealerships that might be around these days. I mean, they can't be doing good. I mean, there's just no way that I can imagine that they're doing very well. Cost. Let's see how much these things cost. It's probably an absurd amount of money. Really? 127,000 USD. That is surprisingly not as expensive as I expected it to be, especially if they've got the stone seats and all that nonsense in it. I mean, maybe that's why it's at that price point. Maybe it's just too minimalistic. It's got that Fred Flintstone thing going on inside where, I mean, I didn't see any screens or anything. I mean, I'm sure that there's screens in there. I'm sure you hit a button and everything just pops up out of the dashboard, I would assume, which, I mean, that's just more things that could go wrong with it. The motors that actually lift the screen out of the dashboard. I mean, how many times are you going to hit that button before those things quit working? Then you're going to have to get all that replaced. So anyway, let's see. Stock price. Yeah. See, they're publicly traded. I mean, come on, I knew that. So they're down 0.35%. That's just today, though. I mean, over the last 5 days, they've gone down about 1%, 3% over the last month. Over the last 6 months, they've dropped 11%. Uh-oh. Year to date, 8.17. 31% over the last year. Yikes, dude. Over the last 5 years. See, they're still doing well, historically speaking. I mean, once, COVID happened, just like everything else, I mean, the stock market absolutely exploded. But yeah, so I guess, in the last 5 years, I think just by looking at this, I mean, Jaguar is not going to go bankrupt just from this rollout alone. I mean, I'm sure that they've got quite a lot of money available to maybe even have that ability to turn the company around and maybe even start producing gas vehicles again if it gets that dire. I really don't know. I mean, maybe they've mismanaged their funds. Maybe the shareholders or stakeholders or whoever, maybe they have the lion's share of what the profits are. I honestly don't know. I'm not, not a big business-minded type person, so really don't know. But anyway, the revenue, $56 billion. Oh, Tata Motors Limited. So that's who owns Jaguar now? An Indian multinational automotive company headquartered in Mumbai and part of the Tata Group. The company produces cars, trucks, vans, and buses. Their notable subsidiaries include British Jaguar, Land Rover, and South Korean Tata Daewoo. All right, so they're owned by a parent company. So yeah, indeed they have been changing hands here and there, but now they're owned by an Indian company, which I'm honestly kind of surprised that they allowed Jaguar to take it in the direction they've taken it into. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't think that too many, Indian citizens would be all on board for buying one of these things. I mean, I don't think anybody's on board buying one of these things for that matter. All right, I had to cut away because I accidentally doxed myself because I forgot I was signed in to Google Maps. So anyway, so so I'm going to look up Jaguar dealerships and let's see what we come up with here. I'm just curious to see how many are in the area. I'm sure there's only just a few, but yeah, it looks like there's a couple in my area here. What is that? Crown? Is that what they are? No, Jaguar of Tampa, Jaguar of St. Petersburg, Jaguar of Clearwater, Jaguar of Tampa. Land Rover. I mean, that doesn't count. Jaguar Land Rover. I mean, it does count, but they also sell Land Rovers, and from what we've seen in the last couple of videos or a couple of videos ago, that Land Rover is actually doing quite well. So yeah, so they've got dealerships around Land Rover. So I mean, maybe they're not doing that bad because I'm sure that they are leaning extremely heavily into Land Rovers. I'm sure they're not having a whole lot of customers that are going into these dealerships looking for Jaguars specifically. But I mean, I'm curious to see what their websites actually look like. I mean, are they featuring this Type 00 on here? Uh-oh. We're unable to access the service portal. I wonder if it's because I'm incognito right now. Maybe that's why. Yeah, I don't know. Please try again in a few minutes. Okay, whatever. All right, so let me see if I can try something else. That could be the reason. Let me see if I can check up here in Georgia. Search this area. And here we go. Hennessy Jaguar. Hennessy Jaguar Atlanta. All right, here we go. Let's see. Pre-owned, all electric, specials, finance, Jaguar. Luxury, Jaguar cars. Yeah, see, that's not all electric looking. Any model, any year. Let's try 2026. Let's see what they got for 2026. See, look at this. Hold on. Wait a minute. The new 2026 Jaguar F-Pace, P-Face. The Jaguar F-Pace P250R Dynamic S all-wheel drive. $949 a month. Anyway, money aside. So they're not only producing those at the moment, they actually do have 2026 Jaguars that are, on this side of sanity that actually look relatively normal. So they their sales probably fell 97.5%, but it must be pertaining to that specific model or the Type 00 or whatever the hell they called it. But they are selling what appears to be relatively normal vehicles, Zero in stock, the F-Type Coupe, the E-Pace SUV. They have 2 of those in stock. View all inventory. Just out of curiosity to see what they've got these days. Of course, they're going to have the Land Rovers, Range Rovers, or whatnot. A Jeep? The hell they got a Jeep there for? Oh, yeah, I see they got BMW. They got their trade-ins. A 2018 Jaguar. So, yeah, so they've got a lot of used, but they don't have really anything for new. I mean, did I not see that correctly? It looked like that they had at least what it appeared to be 2026. Yeah, whatever. So all new vehicles. Yeah, so they've got 2026 Jaguars that are on this side of reasonable, at least by appearance. No, hold on a minute. Wait a minute. Yeah, here we go. New 2026 Jaguar F-Pace. It's actually not for a Jaguar, that's not really the worst deal. I mean, it's a crossover, man. Like, who wants to drive a Jaguar that's a freaking crossover? I mean, that thing looks like a Honda. To me, it does. Or any other kind of crossovers that they've got out there. Only a 2.0 liter engine? Are you kidding? That's not a real Jaguar. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, it doesn't look like that they've got them on here yet. It might be under all electric, but maybe not. I'm just honestly surprised that they don't actually have it on here to at least look at, get the specifications and, what's the 0 to 60 and all that. I mean, aren't they supposed to be coming out next year? I mean, that they're on pre-order. I think that's what they said in one of the previous videos that I checked out. But I mean, no, like this looks like the only one that they've got available. This SUV, which doesn't really look like an SUV. It looks like a crossover to me, but what do I know? So, yeah, anyway, I guess I'll just leave it there, not without dragging this on too long. But yeah, Jaguar, man, it is not looking good for Jaguar at all. It looks like the company is heading into some pretty dark territory. At least they fired their marketing team. That was probably the smartest move that they could have done. But this parent company, I don't know how involved that they're going to get. I'm assuming that they're probably going to step in and do I don't know, like a strong takeover of what the hell they've been doing lately. I mean, that's probably why the marketing team got fired, probably because the parent company stepped in and was like, yeah, we're going to watch you extremely closely now. We're going to micromanage the hell out of you because this company, you are running it straight into the ground with all your woke bullshit. But anyway, that's all I got for now. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.